Okay, picture this. You are sitting on a terrace, looking out over the Andaman Sea.
Mm-hmm.
The sun is setting. You get that incredible sort of bruised purple and orange sky you only see in Southeast Asia. You've got a cold coconut. And you just have this moment where you think, I own this.
That is the absolute dream scenario, isn't it? That little slice of paradise in Phuket.
It is.
Hmm.
But then, the left side of your brain kicks in.
Always does.
And it kind of ruins the moment. It says, okay, this is great, but I'm only here 3 weeks a year. The rest of the time, this place is just sitting here. It needs to make money.
Right. So you think, I'll just rent it out. Easy. Put up a sign, hand over the keys, money hits the bank.
If only.
Yeah, if only it were that simple. The reality is usually a bit more like trying to assemble flat pack furniture.
Okay.
But the instructions are missing, and half the screws are metric while the other half are imperial.
And you end up with a wobbly table that just collapses.
Precisely. Except in the Phuket property market, a wobbly table isn't just an annoyance. It's a legal nightmare or a tenant who won't pay or, a maintenance disaster that just eats your entire profit.
It's so easy to get wrong if you don't know the local rules.
It really is. Which is why today we are doing a deep dive into this amazing guide from the team at Ocean Worldwide.
And this isn't just some random blog post. Ocean Worldwide is a luxury real estate agency that's been on the ground in Phuket since 2004.
And that date, 2004, is so significant. I mean, they have navigated the post-tsunami rebuild, political changes, global recessions, the pandemic. They've seen it all.
Yeah, and we're specifically unpacking insights from Sandra O'Neill, who's the director there. She's helped thousands of families and investors figure this stuff out. So our mission today is pretty simple.
We're going to walk through their expert do's and don'ts.
Exactly. So you don't get caught out. We're going to cover the legal landscape, which has some huge pitfalls, the art of finding the right tenant, and the less glamorous financial side of things.
We're going to look at why your Airbnb strategy might actually be illegal, why the language your contract is in matters more than you can imagine, and why you should never, ever leave your grandmother's face out.
Okay, let's start at the very beginning. The legal stuff. Because before we even talk about making money, we need to know, can you even do this? Can a foreigner legally rent out their property in Thailand?
The short answer and the good news is yes. That's a common misconception, that you can't. You don't need a special permit just to sign a lease with a tenant. The Thai Civil and Commercial Code is actually pretty fair on this point. It treats locals and foreigners exactly the same.
So I don't need a Thai business partner just to rent out my condo. That's a relief.
And there's always a but, isn't there always? We have to separate renting out the building from owning the land. As you probably know, foreigners generally can't own land outright.
Right. That's usually done through a leasehold.
Correct. A 30-year leasehold, typically. And the advice from Ocean Worldwide is really clear here. Make sure your leasehold is registered and totally ironclad at the land office before you do anything else.
Get your own house in order first.
Exactly. If your own legal standing is shaky, you've got no ground to stand on later.
Okay, so let's talk about the strategy I think 90% of new owners jump to, the Airbnb model. You buy a villa, you rent it out for a few days here, a week there, maximize that high season cash.
It seems like a no-brainer, but this is actually the biggest trap in the whole market. This is where Sandra O'Neill and her team wave a giant red flag.
Why? Too much competition.
It's a legal thing. Under Thailand's Hotel Act, renting your property for less than 30 days is considered running a hotel.
Oh.
And unless you have a hotel license, which is incredibly difficult and expensive for a private owner to get, those short-term daily or weekly rentals are technically illegal.
Wait a minute. I see thousands of Phuket listings on Airbnb right now. Are they all breaking the law?
Technically, yes. Now, enforcement can be, let's say, sporadic.
Which gives people a false sense of security.
A terrible business strategy. All it takes is one complaint from a neighbor about noisy guests, and suddenly you're in what the guide calls hot water. You have no legal defense.
That's a massive risk. So the standard holiday let model is basically off the table if you want to be safe.
That's the core advice. Pivot your strategy. Don't look for the weekend tourist. Look for monthly or, even better, long-term agreements.
30 days plus.
Exactly. Once you're over 30 days, you're not under the Hotel Act anymore. You're just under standard rental law. Your legal risk just plummets.
And I imagine your management headache gets a lot smaller too.
Oh, definitely. No more cleaning every 3 days or key handovers at 2 in the morning.
Okay, so this leads us right into the human element. If we aren't renting to party-hopping tourists, Who is our target market?
Right, you got to profile your audience. Ocean Worldwide sort of breaks it down into two main camps. You've got your expats and your long-stay travelers.
And they want different things, I assume.
Totally different. The expat is looking for a home. They might be a teacher, a manager, a retiree. They need storage. They need a kitchen you can actually cook in every day.
They want stability.
Yes. Whereas the long-stay traveler, maybe a digital nomad or a snowbird escaping winter,
Right.
they prioritize location, convenience, but even they, because they're staying a month or more, need solid infrastructure.
The guide mentions a specific property, a modern 4-bedroom pool villa in Pasak. That's a desirable area.
It is, and it's a high-value asset. Which brings us to the most important part of this, vetting your tenants. The guide is so firm on this, finding the tenant is half the battle.
I can see how people would be tempted to just take the first person who shows up with cash, especially if the place has been empty.
That's the classic Ricky mistake. You're handing over an asset worth, hundreds of thousands of dollars. You have to do your homework.
So what's the Ocean Worldwide protocol for vetting?
It starts with just an initial chat. You're just trying to get a feel for their personality. Then you ask for references.
From previous landlords?
Ideally, yes. A reference from another landlord in Thailand is pure gold. Then, proof of income or employment. Can they actually afford this, or are they just burning through savings that are going to run out?
You finally check their ID.
Always. You need a copy of their passport. In fact, you're legally required to report foreign tenants to immigration anyway, the TM30 form. So you need that data regardless.
It seems strict, but it makes sense.
And remember, it's a two-way street. The guide makes a great point that a responsive landlord creates a respectful tenant.
So if I fix the leaky tap right away, they're less likely to kill all my plants.
Basically, yeah. If the aircon breaks, and in Phuket it will break, and you ignore them for a week, they'll get resentful, fix it the same day, they feel valued, they'll treat your home like it's their own.
Okay, speaking of things breaking, let's talk hardware. Making a place guest ready. Because the standards for a long-term rental have to be higher.
Oh, much higher. You can't just throw in some basic furniture and call it a day, not if you want to attract those good expat tenants.
So what are the absolute non-negotiables?
Well, beyond the obvious, like beds and tables, the kitchen is where people often fall short. You need proper pots, pans, a toaster, kettle.
Things to actually live with.
Exactly. But the two absolute essentials in the tropics, air conditioning and Wi-Fi.
AC is not a luxury, it's a utility.
100%. And the Wi-Fi can't just be okay. If you're marketing to digital nomads, it has to be fast, stable, fiber optic. If their Zoom call drops, they're gone.
There was a great tip about doing a utility check before a tenant arrives. Seems simple, but I can see it getting missed.
It gets missed because the owner isn't living there. You have to physically go, turn on the showers. Is the water pressure just a trickle? Check the gas, know the trash schedule. Imagine arriving after a 12-hour flight and the water's not working.
It's a terrible start to the relationship.
A disaster. And they suggest a welcome pack, not just a fruit basket.
Something practical.
Right. A list of phone numbers is way better than a pineapple. A good handyman, an English-speaking plumber, the building manager's number. You want them calling your trusted guy, not panicking at 2 a.m.
Now, there was one piece of advice I loved. I'm calling it the grandmother's vase rule.
Ah, yes. Asset protection.
The advice is to literally create an off-limits storage space. Why is that so important?
Because better safe than sorry is the only way to go. Even the best tenant is still a stranger. If you have sentimental items, family photos, anything you truly love,
I'll leave it out.
do not leave it out. Lock it up. A sealed room, a locked cupboard they don't have the key to. A security deposit can replace a broken lamp. It can't replace something with sentimental value.
So true. Okay, let's get into the financials. We have the villa, we have the tenant, the vase is locked away. How do we set the price?
Okay, the golden rule from Ocean Worldwide here is do not guess.
Right, so where do you get the data?
You do your research. You get on the big property websites, DD Property, Fazwas. You look at the local expat Facebook groups, which are a gold mine in Phuket, and you find comparable properties, same number of bedrooms, same area, same pool, and see what they're actually asking for.
And of course, you have to factor in seasonality.
Hugely. You've got high season, November to April, when demand is through the roof. Then low season, May to October, the rainy season.
So you can charge more in the winter.
You could push the price up maybe 20%. But here's a strategic question the source raises. Are you willing to take a slightly lower monthly rate for a longer commitment?
Meaning give a discount for a 12-month lease?
Exactly. You might get 100,000 baht a month in December, but only 60,000 in June, or nothing. If someone offers you a flat 80,000 baht a month for a full year, do you take it?
I think you take it. Guaranteed income through the low season is probably worth more than the high season peak.
I agree. It's stable cash flow. It's smart business.
Okay, so you agree on a price. Now you need a contract.
Yeah.
And this is where my jaw just hit the floor. There's a massive gotcha here.
This is probably the single most critical technical detail in the whole guide.
Tell everyone.
Most rental contracts in Thailand are bilingual. You'll see Thai on one side, English on the other. It looks fine. But under Thai law,
Don't tell me.
if there's any difference or ambiguity between the two versions, the Thai text is the legally binding one.
Wow. So I could read the English version and think I'm covered on something.
Yeah.
But if the Thai text says the opposite, I'm out of luck.
That's exactly it. It's not usually malicious, it's just a bad translation, but the result is the same. You lose.
So what's the solution?
It's simple. Get a professional translation if you don't read Thai fluently. Do not rely on verbal promises, and do not rely solely on the English text.
That tip alone is worth its weight in gold.
Eh,
Okay, let's talk about the other side of the ledger, the hidden costs.
because it's never pure profit, is it?
Never.
First, you've got your common area maintenance fees if you're in a condo or a gated community. For security, pools, gardens, the source says that can be anywhere from 3,000 to 10,000 baht a month.
So like 70 to over 200 quid.
Right, that's a big chunk right there. Then you have your income tax, local taxes, but the one you have to plan for is the rainy day fund.
For unexpected repairs. How much?
The recommendation is to set aside 5 to 10% of your gross rental income. Just siphon it off into a separate account.
And that's because things just break more often in the tropics.
They degrade faster, water pumps fail, roofs leak in a monsoon, termites show up. If you don't have that cash ready, a small problem becomes a major crisis. You have to treat this like a real business.
Okay, we're ready. How do we find these long-term tenants?
Well, you still need to get seen. And yes, people do use Airbnb, just making sure they specify a 30-day minimum. But the real gold, according to the source, is social media.
Facebook groups.
Facebook groups are huge. Phuket house rentals, Phuket expats, they are incredibly active. The downside is, if you're not there, managing messenger inquiries from different time zones is a nightmare.
Which leads to using a real estate agent.
Right. They'll take a commission, of course, usually 1 month's rent on a year-long lease. But they handle the viewings, the vetting, the contract, all of it.
If you're managing this from overseas, that seems like a no-brainer. You're paying for peace of mind.
You really are.
And one last thing before we wrap. Insurance. My standard home insurance won't cut it, will it?
That is a very dangerous assumption to make. You need specific landlord insurance.
What's the difference?
Your home insurance covers the building itself. Landlord insurance covers the risks of the business, damage caused by a tenant, loss of rent if the place becomes unlivable after a storm, and the big one, public liability.
Someone gets hurt on your property.
Exactly. If a tenant slips by the pool and sues you, your standard policy might not cover you because you're running a commercial operation. You need that specific liability coverage.
Wow. Okay, we have covered a lot of ground. We started with a nice dream about a coconut on the beach, and we've ended up with a full-on business plan.
And that's the point, isn't it? Renting in Phuket can be a fantastic source of income. It really can. But the big takeaway from Ocean Worldwide is that you have to treat it with diligence.
It's a business.
It's a business. You have to vet your people, respect the local laws, and budget for reality. It's a mindset shift from, I have a holiday home, to, I run a rental business.
So here's a final thought I want to leave everyone with based on all this. We talked about that temptation, the high-yield, short-term tourist rental versus the sort of boring, stable, long-term lease.
The risk versus reward?
Right. So is that potentially higher income from playing the holiday-let game really worth the legal risk you're taking on with the Hotel Act? Or is the peace of mind you get from a reliable 12-month tenant actually the more profitable choice in the long run?
That's the million-baht question, isn't it?
I think I know which way I lean. I like to sleep at night.
Me too. Stability is its own kind of profit.
Well, a huge thank you to the source for today's deep dive. All this expertise comes directly from Ocean Worldwide and their director, Sandra O'Neill.
If you're seriously thinking about this, you really shouldn't try to figure it all out on your own.
Absolutely not. If you want more details, or if you actually have a property you want help listing, you should check them out at oceanww.p.com. That's oceanww.rp.com.
Definitely worth a look.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you on the next deep dive.